Gold finally reached the 3,000 price point. As you can see, last week we had a very strong rally, breaking into all-time highs multiple times. And again, like I just said, we reached 3,000, which has been a largely anticipated price point for quite a few months. Since a few weeks ago, we have read online and seen online that a lot of economists were expecting that gold was going to reach 3,000 due to all of the uncertainty that has been going on with Trump's strong tariff policies. So let's talk about this a little bit. You can see last week, I believe it was on Wednesday, just after we saw CPI being released lower than expected, we saw gold, as you can see, it was stuck within this intraday range right around this area. It was a very large range, as you can see, just kind of like within where I just marked off. And then price was also very stuck within another range. So it was like double ranging conditions was which wasn't ideal. But as you can see, we had a strong breakout above those highs, and then price just started to create highs and lows continuously pretty much until the end of the week. So that allows us to now look at this market and understand where we are. We are clearly at all-time highs. So let's start off by marking off some new zones here. We do have right here a support being created at 29.82 more or less. We have these highs right here, which is at 29.94. And if we move on to the 1 hour, because on the daily there really isn't much other than just like candle closures and wicks, we can see that a lot more clear on the 4 hour and on the 1 hour. You guys, if you're familiar with our analysis, you know we always do daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour to look at our main zones. So on the 1 hour, this support around 29.82 makes perfect sense to have this here, as we see multiple wick rejections and body rejections here. Price just continuously bouncing off of this area, as you can see right here, multiple bounces until price now basically we've reached back into all-time highs. So let me just delete this real quick so we don't have that in our way. We also have a resistance area, which is 3,000 basically. So the price point of 3,000, which is the important key level that we have. 3,000, as you can see, we had these rejections right here and a large sell-off, not that large, like a minor pullback after creating these all-time highs. Then you can see again here, 3,000, another pullback, but now you can see that price did break above that area, closed above, retested those highs, and we're now trading at all-time highs. So when it comes to this type of price action, the best case scenario is we do start to get some pullbacks, kind of like what we saw here. We want to see price, I guess, creating new all-time highs as it's doing right now, or creating a new high, doing somewhat of a pullback for us to continue on that overall trend, right? So kind of like I just pointed out, we can see that price right now, it's creating these all-time highs, kind of reacting around these wick highs right here at this area. So if we are going to be showing continued buyer momentum, what would be ideal is getting some pullbacks back into these previous highs, which was 3,000. If we see rejections, it's likely we are just going to continue to trade above that area, and we are most likely going to continue bullish. Once we were to get, let's say we are to get below 3,000, I'd be on the lookout for any sort of bounces off of this rejection zone that we see here around 29.94s, 29.95s more or less. Watch out for continued buys. And if price decides to do even deeper pullbacks, most likely that's going to come below the 29.93s. If we start to see price closing below that area, we can see that in the past, when price did get below that zone, we did have some short-lived moves towards the downside. You can see again, basically right here, price closing below and then trading down into these lows. Price rejecting those same highs, trading back into those lows right there. Here we did break above shortly. Then once we got back below that area, we tried but didn't get close enough to actually retest that area. So if we do get below that 29.93 zone, then that's where I would be on the lookout for maybe a deeper pullback down into this zone. But overall, on gold, from a technical perspective, looking at it from the daily time frame, clearly bullish. So higher time frames are bullish. 4 hour also very bullish. So the intraday time frames are all bullish. So from a technical perspective, everything is still pointing out towards more bullish price action. But of course, don't just, completely marry that bias. Be on the lookout for at least some short-lived pullbacks. But definitely, I would be, continuing to ride this bullish price action. From a fundamental perspective, nothing has changed. We've seen the Trump tariff policies continue. The uncertainty seems to still be in the markets. So we should be on the lookout for any sort of continued buys. But again, look at the price points, watch those price points. If we do start to trade below these areas that we did mark off, make sure you adapt to at least some short-lived pullbacks. Don't go just forcing on buy trades. Now, before ending this video, I did want to let you guys know this week is a very important week because we do have, as you can see here, I'm going to show you guys very quickly. We do have on Wednesday the FOMC. So we have the Fed interest rate decision at 2 p.m. Most likely, as you can see, the rates are expected to stay relatively the same. So not really expecting too much volatility during that 2 p.m. Fed interest rate decision. If we are to see like the Fed actually cut rates, then that's where you're gonna see a lot more volume coming into the markets. And then at 2:30 p.m., very important for you to be on the lookout for Powell talking during this time, saying his statement. We have to see his tone, what sort of signals he gives out to the market, seeing whether or not they're going to be aggressive with rate cuts. Maybe they're going to take a slow and steady approach. Again, all depending on what Powell says. That's what most likely is going to narrate the price action for those next couple of days. So I won't take up too much of your time, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, feel free to ask any questions and reach out anytime through any social media. Take care, everybody.